It's been way too long, but the boys are back and we have a draft board in front of us. Welcome back to the Just Beavin podcast. A couple of weeks ago, we did our rookie draft. Everyone but me found their way down to Jacksonville, Illinois. It looked like a great time with all the fellas, and we were able to get yet another rookie draft in. It's hard to believe that these just keep pumping out for us here in this league. We are moving into year 5, which is just absolutely weird to think about. All things considered, fellas, how we doing? Andy, JP, Beeve here with you. JP, we'll start with you, the commish. Everything from the live draft looked to be just incredible. You guys looked to have a great time. Really bummed I couldn't be there for it, but the draft was had nonetheless, and good times were had by all, it appears.
Yeah, it was a good time. Shout out Casey's Pizza. Shout out Zip. Shout out Crook. But no, it was a good time. It's good to be back. It's been, with all three of us, I don't think we've done an episode since December or January. So it's good to get back on the horn and get back to doing what we like to do.
Beeve, how are we, sir?
Yeah, doing good. Just woke up from a nap, a little shaken. But as you see from the hair, I'm ready to go.
And for those of you who have stuck around, know what we do post rookie draft. We are going to grade everyone's draft. And we have a couple guys who didn't even make draft picks. We have a few people, me included, who had 2 picks or less. So it's going to be tougher to grade some people. But we're going to go through our draft grades for everyone, our favorite picks. If there's a sleeper pick, the least favorite pick, not everyone's going to have that, obviously. Some people, like myself and others, made 2 to 3 picks or even less. So it's harder to grade out on that. But still, we feel like it's up to us to go through and kind of see how everyone did and how everyone's shaping out as we enter the summer. Without further ado, JP, we're going to start with the man who held the first pick, Mr. Cameron Crook, and he only made 2 draft selections. He got the most important guy, though, Jeremiah Love at the 1-1, and then Eli Heidenreich later on in the 4th round. How do you shape out Cam's draft?
Yeah, I think it's as simple as you get Jeremiah Love and you call the draft there. I gave the Jeremiah Love pick an A. Obviously, you get the best player in the class. I can't give it an A plus because obviously, you're just gifted it. It's not like you did anything special. You didn't get any value out of it. I gave the Heidenreich pick a C. I gave Crook overall an A minus. I know, you can't judge the Heidenreich pick too much. It was a 4th round flyer, but I did think there were better options to go with. Heidenreich's pretty buried, whether you look at him as a slot or running back. He's buried. The story's fun, but as a player, I don't see any fantasy relevance at this moment. So A minus for Love Me and Crook.
I actually gave Cam the same grade, similar reasons as well. Obviously, the only pick we have as the favorite is Jeremiah Love. Similar reason, Heidenreich, he's a fun guy. And I know when we look at the 3rd and 4th round, especially being a 14-team league, it's meant to take dart throws. It's meant to take flyers on guys. But like you said, he's just kind of a weird player. He's a fun gadget guy in terms of how Pittsburgh could potentially use him in their offense, but I don't know how that translates to fantasy relevancy. So I didn't really know how to feel there. And it's one of those where, like you said, you get the best player in the draft. It minimum has to be an A minus, but there really isn't much else to gather on Cam's draft, considering he only had 2 picks in total. But as I mentioned, he made the most important pick at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. So I gave Cam an A minus as well. Beeve.
Yeah, I also give Cam a A minus, and I was telling JP the other day, Jeremiah loves the absolute right pick, but like we said, Eli Heinrich.
You
I'm not
got it
even gonna
right.
say
You
that
got it
name
right.
right. But anyways, but I was telling a bunch of other people, I was saying the only way I see him ever get on the field is if he turns into like a Taysom Hill. He's gonna
It's a good
have to
comparison. Yeah.
go into that role and make some moves like him. If not, I don't see him getting on the field at all. I think he's gonna be buried. That receiver room's all very full, and that running back room's very full. So with Daddle, Warren, and Caleb Johnson, and with the receivers, you got Pittman now, DK. Uh, I'm
They also
forgetting another guy
drafted
they
Jeremy
signed,
Bernard.
but anyways, it's
Yeah.
yeah, Jeremy Bernard. I still think they got little Roman Wilson there. He sucks, but he's still there. So, but yeah, I'm gonna give Cam an A minus here. Didn't really have to do much here.
A lot of mouths to feed on that offense. It'll be interesting to see how it shapes out in Pittsburgh. We move over to Wade, Gators Swamp at the 102. Wade had a few more picks to make here as we look across our board. He had a couple seconds, a third, and 3/4. I'll start with Wade and how I grade out his draft. I gave him a B minus. It's hard to give someone a high enough grade when you don't have a 1st round pick, so you're looking at talent to miss out on. And we talk about Bernard. Bernard is his first pick at the 203. The talent, and we were having these conversations a ton in our chat during the actual NFL draft. This is going to be awful for our dynasty draft. All the landing spots were just terrible for these skill guys. And Bernard's a good player, but that's going to be tough, man. You got Pittman and Metcalf in front of you in Pittsburgh. And you know they like to go with the tight ends as well. And we don't even know what the running back situation is in its entirety. So that's a mess in its own right. My favorite pick that Wade made was Damon Claiborne in the third round. And I know it seems to be a bit odd in the talent. It's interesting. The spot, though, and I'll say why. I think there could be a route at some point to him getting significant touches in the backfield in Minnesota if injuries kind of bounce his way. And I know that's not a great way to look at things. You should be evaluating a favorite pick based on the player and the spot. I know Claiborne's going to be a backup. He'll be third stringer probably to begin the season. But if there's an injury to be had to Aaron Jones, we've seen that he's not the most healthy guy. He's not. This past season, he didn't play every game. He wasn't on the field. The backup spots in the running back room for Minnesota are kind of up for grabs. So I think that could be a fun pick if injuries shape out his way. My sleeper pick is Oscar Delp. Similar situation. Jawan Johnson's getting paid a lot of money in New Orleans, and I think that's a guy who, if Delp can outshine him and outsnap him at some point this season, that's a contract the Saints would love to cut bait on and save some money later on. And my least favorite pick of his was Adam Randall at the beginning of the fourth round. I know I'm kind of picking hairs, but Baltimore's running back situation is kind of a mess every year as well, outside of Derrick Henry, a guy who's pretty reliable. So nonetheless, I think Wade needed to fill roster spots. He did a pretty good job of doing so. I like Bernard as a talent, but I just don't know how it works in Pittsburgh. So I gave him a B minus.
Yeah, I'll hop in here. I gave Wade a B minus. I think actually I gave him a B. Best pick. I really like the K-Tron Allen pick. I'm trading up to 213 and snagging him where he was at. I really think there's a good chance that he could be the starter there by week 10. You know, with that crazy running back room, you got Rashad White now, and you got Bill Krosky Merritt. I don't think those two are a RB1 anywhere. So I think it's as I would put it, as a term, free country over there. I think they could easily roll him out week 10. He'll be the starter there. So I like it. I like the pick a lot, and I think he's a good ball player. Worst pick, I'm gonna go a different route than you, Andy. I actually had Dedmond Claiborne as his worst pick, but I want to prop to you. My thought here is it's a good upside pick. It's a downside pick as well. You know, I don't really see him getting on the field unless, like you said, like we've seen in the past, Aaron Jones or Mason getting hurt. Yes, they do have a share pair of getting hurt a lot during the season, so I do see the upside from that pick, but I just don't see him. I see them signing someone else like another veteran before he gets on the field. But I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
So I gave Wade's draft overall. I gave it a B minus, or sorry, I gave it a B. I gave the Jeremy Bernard pick a B minus, followed by my favorite pick of Katron Allen, which I gave an A plus. My least favorite pick was Damon Claiborne, which I gave a C. I gave Randall a B, Delp a B minus, and then my sleeper pick is Tanner Koziel, which I gave an A plus for Wade. He was someone I was looking to, as we were coming to the conclusion of the draft. He was someone I was eyeing where I was going to free up some roster space and go get Koziel in the the undrafted free agent pool. Obviously, Wade takes him. Now, Koziel from a talent standpoint, I think is limited, but as a fantasy upside, he reminds me a little bit about like Gadsden last year, where I think the touchdown, like just as a pure receiver, the touchdown upside is there. And we could see weeks where, he has 6 catches for 48 yards, but 2 touchdowns, and he could easily become a spot start guy on bye weeks and all that. And then, I just want to echo again what Andy said about Bernard. We're going to say it a lot during this because it happens so frequently, but it's one of those guys. I love the player, love the talent, hate the landing spot. I had Bernard as my wide receiver 16 for fantasy purposes. He goes as the wide receiver 10, just a little early for me, which is why I had to give that a B minus. But overall, like Andy said, again, echoing his thoughts, he filled out his roster with guys that I think can come in and make impacts, not quite this year, but certainly down the line with Bernard, Allen, Delp, and then, Randall is whatever. And like Drew said, I don't think Clybourne gets on the field. I also think that they would end up going with a veteran. But no, for every reason you said you liked him, it made perfect sense that it's Aaron Jones is injury prone and Jordan Mason has like 8 fumbles in his last 180 carries or
Yeah.
something ridiculous like that. There's 100% a path to him playing. It was just simply uh, like a dislike of the prospect. And then honestly, I don't know that the Vikings have ever really had a great run game under Kevin O'Connell. I know we hype him up as this great OC, but the run game always seems to lack. So just a little bit of that. But a B from me for Wade.
Yeah, I was just going more on value. I figured, hey, if this is a guy who finds a way to break through, yeah, I know obviously we're trying to throw stones here at the back end of the draft, but still, it's interesting. That's why I love that we do this. We have our own thoughts and we have kind of how we shaped out the board. Bauer at the 103, or at least that was his slot, didn't end up making his own pick. And uh JP, I'll start with you here. Beeb, we'll start with you next, looking at ties, simply because obviously I wasn't the only one at the draft, and I know there were some picks here that people were interested about, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, as I was sitting up at the counter, and Jack came up and handed me his draft cards. He handed them to me back to back. I was hoping Stribling was going to fall to the 201, so that irked me when I saw that name. So while we're discussing the Stribling pick, I thought that was the best and my favorite pick that Jack made. And then it was immediately followed by not only the worst pick that Jack made, but I think the worst pick of the draft. There's 2 others that I have contenders for worst pick of the draft, but this probably takes the cake. I gave out 3 Fs for picks individually, and this is one of them. Yeah, around the room, it was actually, you could hear a pin drop. It was so silent in there, no one knew how to react, and frankly, for the next like 6, 7, 8 hours, no one even mentioned Kalen Black's name. And then as the night progressed, no one could comprehend the fact that Kalen Black went in the first round. I'm still a little in disbelief. I had a 3rd round grade on Black. He was listed as my RB5 for dynasty purposes, but I also own Christian McCaffrey, so my own bias could have gone into that a little bit. You don't even own Christian McCaffrey, and you spent a 1st round pick on Kalen Black. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, that was just an egregious pick. It made absolutely no sense when it happened. I don't mean to keep rambling on about how bad it is, so I'll get to these next picks. He takes Jacoby Lane at the 214, gave that a C plus. Klubnik 306, C plus. Cyrus Allen 403, a C. Jeff Caldwell 409, a D plus, and then Michael Trigg a C plus. You know, I really don't like Jacoby Lane. Only gave that a C plus simply because there's a lot of targets to go around in that Baltimore room. Outside of Zay Flowers, I'm not really sure who else is going to catch the ball there. Klubnik gets a C plus because he could definitely get some spot starts, and if a quarterback gets in and starts 4 or more games in Dynasty, I'll take that as a win, even if they never see the field again. You spent 306 on a guy who eventually started games. Cyrus Allen, Jeff Caldwell only got a C because he's on the Chiefs. Caldwell literally reminds me of now I'm blanking on the guy's name, Justin Ross. So unfortunately, don't think that's going to pan out. And then Michael Trigg, I don't think Jake Ferguson's a very good player. I know his fantasy stats have been good, but he's been a target merchant. So I think there's somewhere where Trigg can work his way into that. But God, Kalen Black was a bad pick. Overall, I gave Jack what I believe is my lowest graded draft. I gave him a C minus.
Yeah, Jack's also my lowest graded draft. I gave him a D plus. The Kalen Black pick really. It just I think I texted you and I texted Frank. And I was like, was that a I literally was like, was that a mistake? Like Black was my RB9 on my board, and I was probably lower on him than the consensus simply because of his landing spot. I liked him in Indiana. I did, and even as a talent, though, he's not a 1st round talent. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. So he was my least favorite pick. Stripling was my favorite pick that he made. It's a guy who that's more on the organizational spot. I mean, I know San Francisco's going to be kind of weird with Mike Evans, and they're trying to figure out, Evans, Pearsall, Kittle. Still, you're in Shanahan's offense. There's going to be something there for you at some point or another. And my sleeper pick is Cyrus Allen simply because he's on the Chiefs. And I think every once in a while, Kansas City, they drafted both Allen and Caldwell, guys that Jack drafted. One of their rookies that's a later round guy finds a way to get a couple of scores first 2 years of his career. Like, it won't really amount to much, but still, I think that's a guy who could find his way on the field and score. And Jack still being a rebuilding team, might need to start Allen at some point this year, and he could get a score for him. I don't know. Klubnik's fine, like you said, might get some starts here or there. Jacoby Lane, don't hate the prospect. The spot's not great. don't have an opinion on Caldwell, and then I'm a Jake Ferguson owner, so Trig is whatever to me as well. Like I said, D plus. The Kalen Black pick really just ruined my overall grade. Overall, I mean, Jack made some solid depth picks here throughout, but yeah, I mean, that sinks it in my eyes.
Yeah, I was trying to get on my phone, but forgot Zoom has copyright, and I was trying to get the meme where it says "Oh brother, you stink" from SpongeBob to go through. I mean, this draft by Jack, I don't say this a lot, was atrocious. Okay, I gave him an F. Okay, and
Wow.
I am just sitting here at the draft by Wade and Frank. Okay, and Wade, I didn't even say anything. Wade looks at me and says, did he just take Kalen Black? And I have never heard. I've been talking to Frank all weekend. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be able to trade up for Jonah Coleman probably." I mean, he's taking a guy that I had going in the fourth round. And I said, guys, I think he said it right. I think he took Kalen
Was this
Black.
a
So
real?
I mean,
Are you making this up,
I'm
or is
being
this a real
serious.
conversation?
Yes, it was me and Frank and Wade sitting by each other because that 204 Wade or Frank trade up to Jonah Coleman, and he's like, if he makes it to you, Beav, we'll make that trade. I said okay, and then I'm like, oh my God, he takes it. I mean, I think didn't Kalen Black get drafted in the sixth round as well?
The third,
Oh, was it that early? Okay, well then in this
three,
and Roman
third,
Hemby.
third round pick 90.
I'm thinking of Roman Hemby. Then they got drafted in the sixth.
No, he went
Whatever.
undrafted.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Hemby
even
didn't get
worse. Well,
drafted.
that's even worse. But I don't give a crap. This is a. I mean, you
0 for
got
2.
Ty Sims. You got Ty Simpson at 201 that goes. You got Tony Williams, who I think is a first round grade in my opinion. JP gets to steal. We'll get to that later. And you got Bernard out there, who's all serviceable stars, who Jack needs because if you look at his bench, it's a pile of poop. And so now you look at the other guys he's taken. You got Jalen Lane, poop, not going to see the field. Cade Klubnik, he's on the stinky Jets. He's not going to see the field. Oh, maybe he'll see the field at week 7 and get destroyed and tear his ACL, just like the other Jets quarterbacks. Woohoo. Then you got these 3 fourth round picks, and you got Michael Trigg, Jeff Caldwell, and Cyrus Allen. And Yak, I don't mean to trash your takes today, but I just don't see these guys get on the field. You know, you got these Twitter freaks going on Twitter being, oh, Cyrus sounds the next Keenan Allen. Yeah, BS. No, that's not happening. I'm sorry. No.
That's
There's
the
no
point of
way.
a sleeper pick, though.
I
Did I not say he might get on the field and find a couple of scores? I didn't say he
yeah,
was
you're
going to like be a
right.
consistent player.
All right, fine. We can compare him to Juju Smith-Schuster. There we go. We can compare him to that. All right,
What's your
sorry,
grade for
Jack.
him? Oh, you gave enough.
I gave him F. I mean, this is okay. If I was all right, let me calm down a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing a little
Let's
overreaction.
let's move on to Ty.
Yeah, I gave him an F, but I gave him the best pick, dribbling, and I don't even need to say my worst pick. And then that's all I got. All right, let's go to Ty.
Beav, you're gonna wrap right around. We're gonna have you start with Ty. And good thing for you, Ty only made 2 picks, so this should be rather quick.
Might be. It's an understatement. Uh, best pick, Cardinal Tate. Love the pick. Loved it since he's got drafted there. I really think besides Tyson, this was the second best landing spot. The rest, all up in the air. But what I didn't like is with Ty's second pick. Okay. Yes, his tight end situation is god awful on his team. And now the direction his team's going in, I kind of understand this. You know, when he took Stowers, he still had St. Brown, he still had Devontae Adams. Okay. Now he doesn't. And now it's kind of weird because Ty's weird. You know, we see over the summer that
Ty, you're
he
so weird,
likes
man.
he likes to rebuild. And then season comes around, he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be losing again." So he trades back all his picks he tanked, and then he gets all old again, and then finishes middle of the pack. Blah blah blah. But back to the Stowers thing, I just don't see him getting on the field of Goddard. They just signed a 3-year deal. And that Philly offense, you know, no AJ Brown this year, so you never know what's going to happen with that. I mean, I know they got a new offensive coordinator, but oh no, just a weird pick. I just thought for a situation, I thought he should have took Cooper the Pooper or Denzel Boston or Chris Bell. So that's just my opinion. I gave Ty a B minus.
I gave Ty B
JP?
plus. I like the Tate pick, and I liked Stowers. I mean, I know the fit's not great. I'm looking at the long term for Stowers. Obviously, short term it's tough, but if you look at who went after him, I'm not huge on Omar Cooper. The Jets situation's kind of weird. Boston, same thing. You know, double wide receivers for Cleveland, Concepcion and Boston. That could be a mess. Chris Bell's fine. I think that may have been the one guy you could justify, but I see the long term vision with Stowers. Philly's had good success with young tight ends. I don't really think they wanted to bring Dallas Goddard back unless they absolutely had to. I think this will be Dallas Goddard's final season with Philly, and then Stowers will take over. I see the long term vision there. I think Ty executed well on both these picks, and yeah, that's how I view it.
Yeah, I gave Ty a B minus. I gave the Tate pick an A minus. I think you should have taken Lemon. And then I gave the Stowers pick a D minus. I had Stowers as my 28th player on the big board. It's not for a lack of real life interest in Stowers. I thought Stowers was, I think I had him as my tight end 3. It had nothing to do with Stowers as a player. My biggest problem is they lose Goddard next year, likely. That's fine. The problem becomes the fact that he is 240 pounds and he can't block worth a shit. So my question becomes, how are you going to play that guy when Lane Johnson retires? How are you going to play Eli Stowers as an inline tight end? The reality is you're not. So he's only going to be out on the field for passing plays, and you can put him on the field for running downs, but you're going to get him killed. He's going to lose snaps. He can't stay in and block. I don't like Stowers, and I also don't like that he has Jalen Hurts now. He also has a first round receiver coming in. He still has Devontae Smith there. I'm not saying what they invested at receiver has been a lot, but they did trade for Wicks. They did sign Elijah Moore. Like they brought in guys here
Hollywood
to
Brown
play
too.
this. Yeah, they brought in guys to play the slot, which is where Stowers is gonna have to play. So I just don't see the fantasy upside. I think I already said this, but I'm not sure if I thought it or said it, so I'm just gonna say it again. But Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, it's not like he's sharing the wealth. There's never been a season where he's shared the wealth, and all the receivers there have really excelled. I get the name value on Stowers, and the Eagles are good, so by nature Stowers should be good, et cetera, et cetera. But I uh I would have gone with Boston here or Cooper. So I really did not like this pick. I thought it was way too early for Stowers.
The only thing I think of is that maybe he might have like a Johnny Wilson role this year, is like be that jump ball candidate in the end zone, possibly. We'll see.
Didn't expect Johnny Wilson to get a
But
shout on the pod today. If you're tuning in,
yeah,
there's your Johnny Wilson shout. But there you have it. 2 picks for Ty, both in the first
yeah,
round, and he got to enjoy
yeah.
the rest of his draft. We have Brady up next, I do believe. And similar thing. Brady made 2 picks, both the first round. He went out and grabbed a couple of receivers. I gave his draft an A minus. I think he got really good value on Mekhi Lemon at the 105. And I know I just kind of dumped on Boston a bit, but still, a guy in Cleveland who they're remapping things. So I don't hate the spot for him either. I would have taken Boston over Cooper for sure. I'm definitely more team Boston than team Cooper. So yeah, Brady, we saw last year he was running out multiple Buffalo Bills receivers in the same. He had the Bills receiver stack in a wide receiver room that you probably don't want to own multiple guys in, but that's just the situation he was in. He got his team a lot better in the wide receiving group, and I think Lemon in Philly now without AJ Brown could be a real problem and a real benefit in the fantasy side of things. So I think Brady did well with his 2 picks here.
Yeah, Brady got one of 2 of my A pluses. I had Lemon as my 3rd overall player. He gets him at 5. That's a great value. I had Boston as my, I believe, 9th overall player. Yep, and he gets him at 11. That's a great value. He didn't do much. He only made 2 picks, but both picks were absolutely home runs in my eyes. I think Mekhi Lemon has all the upside to be the wide receiver 1 from this class as far as this year goes. And I think Boston, his skill set is the complete opposite of everything that's in the Browns room outside of Cedric Tillman. So Boston's 100% going to be out there. He's an elite run blocker too. They're going to have him on the field. I bet he leads that room in snaps. And I think that Boston could have a lot of production depending on the kind of offense they're going to run. Shadur throws a great deep ball. It's everything else that his processing is what his real struggle is. Who knows what Deshaun Watson has left, but I love the picks that Brady made, and he gets an A plus from me.
Beef?
Accidentally muted my mic. My bad, boys. Absolute home run by Brady. I put some hand sanitizer on. Hands might be a little stinky. We got Bath and Body Works Ocean Breeze. Anyways, back to this. We got home run picks by Brady here. He gets Makai Lemon, Denzel Boston. Casey and Denzel Boston, I think are going to make immediate impacts to that Browns offense. Great two picks by the Browns. We don't really see home run picks by the Browns organization, but they got two stud receivers here, and you always don't have to go positional needs. And for Brady's sake, he didn't do that. He's real short at running back, and probably the smart pick was taking Jadarian Price, but he took best available and took Makai Lemon, and I love it. With him kind of rebuilding still, his team's gotten a lot better over the years, but I think he's still going to be middle of the pack, and I think he's one more year away from competing for a championship. But I love these two picks, and it's going to make his team a lot better. Favorite pick, I had Makai Levin, and sleeper pick, I had Denzel Boston. Not really much you can say here, but yeah.
All right, we moved to Dade. I don't think Dade made very many picks at all. He made 4 total. Forgot about my guy Seth McGowan. JP, I'll let you start here.
Yeah, I gave Dade a B. Gave Omar Cooper Jr. an A minus. I had him as my, I believe, 10th overall player, and he goes 10th. Yep. So gave him an A minus. I actually like Cooper. The landing spot obviously just blows. What I thought the worst pick was Luke Altmaier. I gave that a D minus. There's no fucking world. I don't give a shit if it's the 4th round with the 14th pick where you should be openly drafting a backup quarterback for a quarterback you don't even own. That literally makes no sense. And I get like, haha, you went to Illinois, ILL, that's the meme, ha. Like I get that. It's so fucking stupid. Then Kendrick Law. Sorry, Dade, he already tore his ACL. That absolutely blows. I didn't even give that pick a grade. It didn't matter to me because
Did he tear it before or after our draft?
He tore it.
He tore it like 3 days ago. Yeah. So that I didn't even grade it because it's not fair. We'll never get to know anything. But if I had given it a grade, I probably would have given it like a D. In all honesty, there were better receivers out there. And I like Seth McGowan personally, and not that they're going to let him leave, but Jonathan Taylor is on the last year of his contract. So I liked Seth McGowan and thought he was one of the few running backs who could be a starter in this class. So I gave him a B minus simply for the player. And yeah, I think I said that overall I gave Dade a B minus.
I gave
Dade sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, really, they shouldn't even really have Omar Cooper. I don't know if you heard Andy. He tried taking
Kenny Sadiq,
right?
Yeah. With 109.
That's awesome.
I can't believe I missed an opportunity to make and Dade takes Kenyon Sadiq at 110. I mean, that was one of the best moments of my life.
I think JP said
what was the reaction of the room there?
I mean, everyone just died laughing. It was fucking hilarious. And then Dade sat down and was like a lost puppy. He didn't even know what he did wrong. It was freaking hilarious. I mean, Luke, you can picture Luke. It was so freaking funny, dude.
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
I feel so bad. It would happen to Dade too, of all people.
I know, like, that's what made it even a little sad, but it was freaking hilarious.
Oh man, but yeah, that's why I want to jump in here. Sorry, I didn't want to. I'll make this one quick. Omar Cooper, best pick. I gave that an A grade. I love Cooper. Just once again, terrible landing spot. I mean, hopefully, oh god, I don't even know. I hate any player that goes to the Jets organization. Luke Altmaier, that pick just beyond terrible. I don't even be funny all you want. I mean, come on, do better. Other than that, I don't really have any. I really don't think Seth McGowan's even going to get on the field. I really don't. But it's a flyer at 314, so do what you want, man. All you, Andy, floor's yours.
I gave him a C plus. Like JP said, I know I bashed Cooper a little bit. It was more based on him being in New York and also the fact that the Jets drafted another pass catcher in the same round as Cooper. It's tough, but I like the talent, so has to be my favorite pick. McGowan's fun. I know the Bears were potentially looking at going running back on the 3rd day again. He was a guy who I had circled on my board specifically for Chicago. I know there's stuff about him that drew up red flags and people were worried about him through the draft process, but I think he could be fun if he gets a shot. And then I didn't really know anything about Law, and yeah, Altmaier's just awful. Like That is a pretty bad pick, all things considered, considering the fact that he probably would have gone, not probably, he would have gone undrafted in all likelihood if Dade didn't take him. So yeah, C plus on my end for Dade.
If I see Luke Altmaier in the game when we play the Lions, I'm literally circling. I'm literally running over the FanDuel and withdrawing $1,000 out of my bank account and slamming the Bears money line.
Well,
Actually, and
If Altmaier's in the game, that's probably because the Lions are winning by 35 points with
or
4 minutes
Jared
to play in the
Goff
fourth quarter.
tore his ACL. So I don't wish that upon any players. By the way, I hope that never happens. Jared Goff's the beast.
Beav, we're gonna do your draft here.
Let's do
Before
Andy's.
you want to do mine? Actually, that's probably better. Mine's shorter. We'll do mine,
Yeah.
and then we'll take a quick timeout here on the pod. I only made 3 picks. I traded my first round pick just based on what I felt was needed for my team. I went with Branch at the 205. JP knows me all too well. I really wanted Kevin Coleman at the 305, but JP basically owned the entire third round, and he knew that if you knew JP, you knew that if you didn't take Coleman, I was certainly going to take Coleman at 305. It's a blessing and a curse talking prospects with JP throughout the entire winter. Is he knows my guys, he knows my sleepers. So I went with Emmett Johnson. Figure if you're going to take someone late, you might as well take someone who's a part of a really good offense and a really good system, or at least what I hope is going to be a really good offense in Kansas City. I know they just paid Kenneth Walker a boatload of money, but you just never know what the room looks like beyond him. And then purely a flyer on Bryce Lance at the 310. I wanted just another pass catcher. Benson probably would have been my pick if he didn't go the pick before. And yeah, I'm just looking on upside there. I gave myself a C plus. I nothing really to rave home about. Branch, I know people are gonna say, he's not a not a downfield guy. You need him in short distance situations. His quarterback looks like it's gonna be Tua, who literally only throws the ball short. And we saw what Devontae Chain's been able to do, just getting him the ball in open space. Not saying Branch is the same type of guy, but he's a speedster, he's a quick, he could be a fun gadget guy to use in short distance situations. And that might work out in Atlanta. I don't know. C plus. I didn't really have a lot to say. I made 3 pretty meaningless picks.
Yeah, I gave you a B, Andy. I had Zachariah Branch at whatever pick 19th on my big board, and that's what pick you took him at. So I thought that was good value. But like you said, I raised it when I initially did this. I put it at a B plus, but then it dawned on me that Tua is going to be the likely starter, and I think that skyrockets Branch's value. So I thought that was actually an adequate pick. I gave Emmett Johnson a C. And I gave Bryce Lance a C minus. I kind of want to group them together because I think they're both only going to see the field for injuries. And yes, Kenneth Walker is injury prone, but Emmett Johnson is more of a runner than he is a pass catcher. So he's really only going to see the field as the change of pace back unless Kenneth Walker gets hurt. And then for Bryce Lance, I liked Bryce Lance as a prospect. The landing spot just sucked. I mean, they took Tyson, they took Bryce Lance, they took I can't remember the guy's name. The former Kentucky guy who then went to LSU. Barry and Brown. Yeah,
Yeah.
Barry and Brown. They traded a fourth for Vele last year. They already have Olave. They drafted Delp. They have Jawan Johnson. So Bryce Lance, not only is he going to have to find a way on the field, he's got to earn the spot too. Like they've invested a lot into the wide receiver position. So the Flyers there on the talent side of it, but the spot just sucks. So my favorite pick is Branch, and then my least favorite pick was I think I went with Bryce Lance, yeah, and then a B overall.
Yeah. I'll keep it short and simple. Branch was my favorite pick. I love that for your situation. Uh, Worst pick, I had Emmett Johnson. It was a great flyer pick, but I just don't see him getting the field like JP said, unless someone gets injured, which is worth. And then I'm full, so he's gonna have to earn a spot. But hey, I think Kellen Moore wanted him, so that's good. That's a good thing. So I love Kellen Moore, so that's all I got. B grade for you.
We'll see what happens with Lance. Obviously, that's the big situation to look at down the pipe. We still got a few more drafts to look at, including JP's and the Beavs. We're going to look at those two coming up on the other side of this break, right here on the Just Beavin podcast. Out of the intermission, we're going to jump right back into the action. Beav, your draft and a full recap. You had a lot of picks, my friend.
Yeah, I did, man, and I love it. This is my favorite time of year. You know, I always usually have about 5 to 10 picks every year. I think I had about 8 this year. So yeah, I'll get right into it. I kept going back and forth. I'll try to keep this short and sweet, but I really wanted Sadiq and KC. I fell in love with KC when he went to the Browns because for my team I needed receiver help, and I knew for a fact the two receivers that were going to fall were going to be KC and Chris Bell. And I think KC is not miles better than Chris Brown or Chris Bell, but I think he's a lot better. So I went that route with KC. I gave him an A. I really like the landing spot, and I think he's gonna do well there. And then Sadiq, I loved him coming out of college out of Oregon. A big fan of his. Great pass catcher. Great end zone threat. And my thing with the Jets is why I liked him. I think Gino's gonna really dump down to him a lot because there's gonna be times where no one's going to be open and he's just going to dump down a Sadiq. Hopefully that's what happens, but that's just my mindset. And I just really like the pick there. I gave that an A. And if we go to the second round, purely I just took Malik Washington because I wanted to handcuff for Genti.
Mike Washington.
Oh, shit. Mike, whatever. Sorry, I'm in a loop. I knew that. Mike Washington Jr. I'm sorry. God, I'm on one today. I like to bitch about other people, but I can't get my damn guy straight. Uh, anyways, my favorite pick of the favorite draft I have was Chris Brazzell, man. I really think he's going to be a superstar. I've been raving to everyone how good I think he's going to be. I think he's going to take over that spot that Leggett has, and I think by like week 7, towards the end of the year, I think you're going to be looking at Tet, Coker, and Brazzell towards the end of the year. Other than that, kind of some flyer picks down below. Probably my favorite pick out of these was Caleb Douglas. You never know with this Miami offense. I mean, they took 3 receivers in this draft, and their receiver room is wild. They don't have an actual star in that receiver room. They got all sorts of other guys. Like we talked about Kevin Coleman. They just took Chris Bell. They got vets in there. I can't even think about the vets they signed, but they got
Colbert, Atwell.
There you go. They got those guys that are okay, but nothing.
Terrace Marshall.
Nothing.
They're gonna
nothing
be
special.
so bad, man. They're gonna be so bad.
Dude, and I was telling people I really do like Willis. I do, but it's just they're gonna be bad. I mean, they're gonna be like a 3-14 team.
Halfway's gonna be out of there in 2 years or less. That's gonna be so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, the Carson Beck was really a flyer pick. Nothing great there. We're just hoping he sees the field at least one time. Other than that, I don't got anything.
JP?
Yeah, I gave Drew's draft overall. I gave it a B plus. I gave the Sadiq pick a B plus. I gave the Concepcion pick an A, and that was my favorite pick Drew made. I gave the Brazzell pick a B. I gave the Washington pick a C plus. Then my second I guess this is my third. Altmaier was the second one. My third F of the draft and final one is Carson Beck. The guy just fucking sucks at the sport. That was a god awful. I literally don't care that he's on the Cardinals. That was a fucking horrifically bad pick. I'm talking about we're going to see Nathan Peterman-esque numbers. Oh, we started games. He's going to start over percent eventually. Yeah, with 2 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, bro. throw in 3 dick picks while we're at it, too. Carson Beck sucks. That was an awful pick. Max Clare, I gave a C plus. Was just a little early for me. I like the player, but the landing spot's horrific. I mean, Higbee, Ferguson, and missing one other. They got another guy over there.
Parkinson.
Yes, Parkinson, who does some good pass catching stuff. My favorite pick and the sleeper pick is the Caleb Douglas pick. I wasn't over the moon about Caleb Douglas as a prospect. The 3rd round was way too early where they took him. But given the fact that Miami literally has nobody in the room, he was a 3rd round receiver in real life. So getting him in the 4th round, that makes sense. Which it's funny I use that logic because then the next guy, Xavier Thomas. Oh, wow, a 3rd round receiver in the 4th round. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, except the fact that the guy had 1,000 yards in 4 years at a power for fucking one school in the SEC. And he was picked in the 3rd round. Andy sucks. Andy's on a team with Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, and Colson Loveland, and Cole Kmet, and DeAndre Swift, who are all going to catch more passes than him. Xavier Thomas sucks. Actual shit is the other thing versus Caleb Douglas, who actually has some upside. So the Xavier Thomas pick, I gave a C simply for the reasons I listed with Douglas. But as an actual player, Xavier Thomas will be out of the league in 4 years. That was a terrible pick. In real life, not for Drew. That was a C overall. But like I said, gave Drew a B plus. Shout out to Caleb Douglas pick. Oh, Andy, I meant to bring this up during yours, but got distracted. I really thought you were going to go with Brazel to replace Leggett. So I kind of wanted to
No,
just hear. I forgot to bring that up. So I kind of just wanted to
yeah.
hear why you didn't go that way.
I've already gotten fucked over by taking one Panthers receiver in the second round in this league. I think that's the first time I've ever cussed on this podcast. Actually, I've gotten that didn't go well for me a couple years ago. I don't think it's good. I didn't want to run down that route again. That's actually why it's my least favorite pick that Drew made. I just horror stories of Brazel in this of a Panthers receiver. They've gone with a receiver early in the draft the last 3 years now. Tet's a stud. He's different, and I get that. But Leggett has been bad. I don't know. Brazel could be good. It's weird what Carolina does with constantly bringing a pass catcher early every single year on top of Coker, who looked really great last year. I just don't know what the plan is for Brazel. Hopefully the talent shines through on your end, Drew, but that's my least favorite pick there. Favorite pick is Kenyon Sadiq. The spot sucks, but he's an awesome talent. JP and I could not stop raving about him when we were doing our mock drafts. So big on Sadiq. And then my least favorite pick that you made was also Carson Beck because all the reasons JP said. Uh, I've been out on Carson Beck for a really long time. There are other people I know in this league that were giving me a rough time for saying how bad Carson Beck is and that he will not translate to the NFL whatsoever. And now I'm happy that everyone in the football world, other than Cardinals fans, are pretty much on the right side that he's just not a good player and not a good quarterback. So I gave you a B plus as well, Beav. I think the Brazel pick's probably gonna be fine. I just said it was my least favorite pick because I've had horror stories of taking a Panthers receiver in the second round in our rookie drafts as well. But yeah, JP, that answers your question. I didn't want to do that again. Because who knows? With my luck, both Leggett and Brazel would be terrible. They'd be the two guys on the outside, and I'll have invested 2 second-round picks in each of those dudes. I had to get away from Carolina as a whole. So yeah,
Very understandable.
That ties things up there. And Drew, we'll shift from your draft to JP's draft. And Kamish, I'll give you the floor. You own pretty much the entire third round. And you had how many third round picks do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Was Green your last one?
I traded away 2 of them. So yeah,
okay.
So that's 5. I had 7 though. I owned half of the round.
Yeah. Floor is yours, man. There's a lot to look at here.
Yeah, so we'll just get out the most important part. I gave myself an A plus, and every single pick I made, I gave myself an A plus. Based on my board, every pick I made based on my own board was a value. I got them lower than where I had them ranked. So by that measure, that's an A plus. That's just obviously biased. People are going to have different opinions on it, but I'll just quickly go through everything. I was so happy when Brady took Lemon because I needed running back depth. I have no young running backs. I loved Lemon, so I would have been okay with it, but I wanted Price so bad. Then I got worried about Ty Simpson. I figured he was going to fall to me because I'm one of the teams where I can have him sit and wait, and that's okay. I have the patience for it. That's the other problem with Simpson. A lot of people don't have the patience for it. But I knew if he fell to me, that was a home run. Loved where I got him. Had a first-round grade on him for the dynasty purposes. And same with Williams. Get him in the second at the 202. I think he's one of the few receivers who can come in and instantly be the wide receiver 2 on a team, maybe even the wide receiver 1. I think McLaurin's fading. So that's possible. I was so happy to get Fields. I debated taking him at 203, traded that to Wade, and still got him at 212. So that was a home run for me. Neighbors, they said he may not even be back till October now. That rocks. Malachi Fields is going to bang. The only shitty part that sucks is that Jackson Dart is the white Justin Fields, and he can't throw the football or read a field. So that part sucks. I love Brendan Thompson in the Mike McDaniel offense. That speed coming over to Los Angeles, that was a clear McDaniel had his hand in the cookie jar on that one. Herbert throws one of the best deep balls in the league. That's money. Andy already talked about Kevin Coleman. Love that. My boy Kinkead Dent, a.k.a. Brendan Sorsby, looks like he's headed to the supplemental draft. I was sitting there at 308, and I looked at Matt, and I go, fuck it, I'm doing it. And I don't remember who he thought I was taking. I think Taylon Green is what he said, but I went with Sorsby. That's going to at least turn into something. It looks like he's going to be on an NFL team. Malik Benson goes to a Raiders team with no wide receivers. Love that pick. Taylor Green, only draft him because he's going to play wide receiver. Not a matter of when, or not a matter of if, but when. Deion Burks, I had mocked Andy in the 3rd round, got him 402. Absolutely love that spot. Noah Whittington, yeah, he went undrafted. Don't even give a shit. One of the few running backs in this entire draft and the undrafted free agent process who ended up somewhere where he can actually be a running back who gets carries, with Montgomery being the only other true ball runner there. I know Marks was okay, but it's clear that he's a pass catcher because he does not have the vision to play at the NFL. Whittington can legitimately be the starting running back there if Monty goes down. So yeah, I mean, overall, loved my draft. Got a lot of pieces. Haven't had to cut any of these guys yet. Still 2 guys over the roster limit. Hit my line if anyone wants to make any trades. But I absolutely love this draft. Love the haul I got. I addressed everything except tight end, which is literally what I didn't need. Booyah, go Commissioner Crew.
I gave you an A, highest ranked draft, not just because you're the commish, because you got some real. I mean, your second round is when I saw your second round haul, I realized that we were going to be in some trouble here based on how everything else shook out. Williams was my favorite pick that you made simply because you said, I mean, Terry McLaurin's a lot older than people realize, and there isn't much left in the pass catching room for Washington outside of Terry. So Williams is going to get some good run here early, and just because of that, I mean, you got him in the second round. Kind of reminds me of the guy who took Emeka Egbuka last year in the second round, except Egbuka had more crowd work to deal with in that Bucs receiver room than Williams will this year. Sleeper pick, Kevin Coleman, already sung his praises. Absolutely love that guy. I loved his tape. Really wanted, if the Bears were going to go take a receiver in the 3rd round, Kevin Coleman would have been a great guy if they were going to reach on a receiver in the 3rd round, but they didn't do that. He can also return kicks like the receiver that the Bears overdrafted in the 3rd round. I'm done with Xavier Thomas now, but yeah, I love Kevin Coleman. I think that's a great spot for him too. It's one of the few spots that any skill players could go to in this draft. So there's going to be an opportunity there right away to get off the ground. If I had to give you a least favorite pick, and it's not necessarily because of the talent, I think it's just because of the situation that comes around Sorsby. It's weird. I don't know, but I followed that up with saying, if anyone could have taken Sorsby, it was you, because of all of the picks you had. You had too many picks. You could afford to absolutely burn one if you really wanted to. Like, I wasn't going to take Sorsby because I only had 3 picks in this draft, and I needed to know that I was getting 3 guys who are going to be on NFL rosters this year. But because you had 13 million picks in this draft, you could afford to go take a guy like Sorsby. I think the talent's there. This quarterback class sucks. So if he does come out of the supplemental draft and actually makes an NFL roster, very easily is going to be a top 3 quarterback in this class, in my opinion. There's just a whole lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that comes with Sorsby that who knows. But if anyone's to have him, it's you or Drew, because you guys both had a crap ton of picks. So it made sense for you to take him. If someone else took him who didn't have as many selections, I would have said, well, that's a complete bonehead move. You're wasting a roster spot. But that's my 2 cents there. You hit the nail on the head, man. You turned out all right in this draft. So, Beef?
Yeah, I'll just keep it quick. Favorite pick was Antonio Williams. Love that pick. It was great. I think he's going to make a big impact starting week 1, and you'll see it coming preseason. Guy has a special talent, especially when he's at Clemson. Love watching him play. Worst pick if I had to make one, I gave JP an A grade. Would be Taylor Green. I just don't see him transitioning the receiver. Like he said, if he's got to transition the receiver, he's just going to retire. I hope he's wrong because he's a killer athlete and he's super athletic. But I just don't see it working out. And there's no way in hell he's going to be able to play quarterback for Cleveland. That room is flooded. So, other than that, great draft. Tons of talent here.
I guess we can address that Ziparo had absolutely no picks in this draft.
Jake said grade is incomplete.
Well, I guess you can just, and we can just go over, I guess we'll get that. Never mind.
Yeah, Boyer also had 0 picks in this draft.
So
we had 2 teams that made no picks. And we'll just go to Luke, and then we can go back to Matt and Frank, because Luke literally only took Fernando Mendoza.
You're welcome, Luke.
I gave Luke a B plus. Mendoza QB1, but obviously there were better talents out there, so can't fault him for taking the QB1. Just could have probably moved down. I don't think Brady was going to take him. I don't think I was going to take him. Drew probably would have taken him at 107. So 107 would have been the adequate spot to take him, and I would have given that an A minus.
Actually, I give him a B. Sorry, I didn't give B plus a B, but yeah, similar. Yeah.
The funny part is, I gave him a B, but it's upgraded to an A plus now because he traded Mendoza for Mahomes. So he's not even on his team
Okay,
anymore.
but that isn't even the draft.
I understand that, but I'm gonna give him for the pick. I'm gonna give him a B.
Okay. That a boy beef. Sorry, Luke. That's all we can really shine light on. JP, you want to start off here with Hendricks? He made quite a few selections, including 4 in the second round.
Yes, he did. I gave Matt a B plus overall. Jordan Tyson got an A. Same reasons I listed for Jeremiah Love. He was the only guy you should have taken there. So you don't get anything special other than an A for being the right pick. I gave Hurst a B. I gave Bell a B minus. I gave Singleton a B. My favorite pick of the entire draft is getting Elijah Surratt at the 211. He's another guy debated at the 203. Yeah, Baltimore has been shaky, but Declan Doyle's a G. I just know Surratt's going to be important there. My least favorite pick Matt made was Drew Aller. I gave that a C plus, and then I gave Raritan in the fourth an A. I thought that was great value for literally my pro comp for Raritan was Hunter Henry. He goes to New England. I think he's going to replace Hunter Henry sooner rather than later. I think that's great value on a guy who's going to end up being a starting tight end. But yeah, I absolutely love the Surratt pick. Matt had a kind of the perfect draft for him where he can wait on Skylar Bell, who obviously is going to have to wait for his opportunity, and Ted Hurst to get his opportunity. Matt's the worst team in the league by far. His team's awful. So this was actually kind of the perfect draft for
Panda.
him. Yeah, if Aller gets a starting shot, that'll be good. But I just don't like Aller as a player, so that was my least favorite pick.
I gave Henny an A minus. I think he did the second round is really where he made his money. Really don't have much to complain about with most of those picks that he made in the second round. Could have made the argument you like Tater Lemon better at the 102, but when JP and I did the mock drafts, we were so big on Jordan Tyson. That seems to be the best landing spot out of the three in terms of him being able to step in right away. I know you can make the argument now with Lemon and Philly because of AJ Brown being out, but still, I like the talent of Tyson more at the 102. My favorite pick was him. My sleeper pick is Nicholas Singleton. I know running backs are really weird in the fantasy scape and just in general. There could be a path there in Tennessee and I liked him in college. I liked him at Penn State. If he can break through, that would be a good spot for him to get some opportunities as a rookie. And yeah, after I saw the footwork video of Drew Aller that surfaced at rookie minicamp for the Steelers, I was already out on Drew Aller, but JP, I think Joe Drew, and you know what video I'm talking about? The Drew Aller footwork video.
Yes, yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Just
Terrible.
abysmal. So really, really bad. And yeah, that'll A minus for Henny.
Yeah, so I'll take this quick. I gave Matt a B plus. Absolutely loved the Nick Singleton pick. Loved it. I really think he's gonna make a big impact in Tennessee. I was debating on taking Washington or Singleton at actually at 206, but I made the right decision and took Washington as a handcuff. But I think Singleton could be the RB1 by the end of the year. With that weird running back room with Pollard and Spears. So we'll see what happen. Absolutely hate the Aller pick. I gave that a D plus. I just don't think I understand they took him in the third round. I get that, but I still think Will Howard's better than Drew Aller as a player. You guys might disagree on that, but I just don't think they're just going to give up on Will Howard after he had us after just 1 year. I just don't see it because they take him in the fourth last year too.
The sixth and a different regime drafted him.
Oh. Well, 0 for 4 again today. So, anyways, absolutely love the Eli Radeon pick, though. I was really hoping to get him in the fourth. I think he's going to make an immediate impact as well there. So, other than that, besides the Aller pick, I think Matt did a great job. I'm skeptical about the Ted Hurst pick as well. I don't know what to expect from him in Tampa, but we'll see.
Let's get things wrapped up here. Frank's draft, he made 3 picks: Chris Bell, Jonah Coleman, and Justin Jolly. I'll go real quick. I gave Frank a B. I think the Coleman value is really awesome at the 204. And, it's one of those situations similar to Denver. There's a real path to playing time there and really good talent. Like that pick, JP, I know you're going to be high on Jolly because I think he was your second rated tight end on your board. So that's good value for him there. Denver's so weird with tight ends. It's more of a situational than a player thing. I don't know how that's all going to pan out. And then Bell should get some real run as well. I just love the value on the Coleman pick. So that's why I gave Frank a B.
Yeah, I gave Frank a B as well. I believe I gave him a B. I gave Frank a B plus, actually. I'm sorry. I gave the Chris Bell pick a B. That was just a little early for me. He's coming off the ACL, so he's not going to see the field right away. I gave the Coleman pick a D plus. I actually had a third round grade on Coleman. I thought this was a little too early. The room's crowded, and he's not as good of a pure runner as Dobbins, and he's not as good as a pass catcher as Harvey. So the role isn't very clear there. And then yeah, I gave Jolly an A plus. That was phenomenal value. I wanted to take him, and me and Frank, I gave Frank this pick. We talked about it, but this is when I started to realize I needed to clear down my roster, so gave away the pick. But B plus for Frank there.
I also gave Frank a B plus. Chris Bell, absolute home run pick. I think he's gonna make a great impact after that ACL. And Jonah Coleman floated RB room. So we'll see what happens there. And then Justin Jolly, love the pick with that terrible tight end room in Denver. So I think he can make an immediate impact. Great draft, Frank.
Alrighty, there you have it, folks. We appreciate you for locking in, hanging out with us as we went through the draft board here this past season. We're looking forward. Obviously, now we're right in the heart of June, so content will be touch and go here at least for the next couple of months. But as football season continues to roll right along and right on through, we're looking forward to getting back at it. Another season of Beaverfest, another season of the Just Beavin podcast. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later.